A year after rescuers set this porcupine free, it came back with an adorable surprise. Rescuers took in this porcupine as a baby and brought him up into adulthood. With fond memories, they set him free back into the wild to live life the way he should. Even though they saw the porcupine regularly, it wasn't until a year after he was set free that he decided to take a trip back to his friends and greet them with a special surprise. This porcupine's tale begins in the South African town of Hoedspruit with a potato farmer. Year after year, he worked hard on his land despite how difficult farming can be, but whilst he was glad about his crops flourishing, because of this, his ground was a haven for hungry animals, particularly porcupines. These sneaky creatures love the salt naturally found in potatoes. Farms are like magnets for porcupines since there's so much they can eat. The potatoes, the sap from wood, the residual sweat from tools. It's practically a buffet for the animals. As much as they love it, that can't be said for the farmers who find porcupines a nuisance since they directly affect their livelihoods. Because of this, many farmers set out porcupine traps with the intention of getting them off the property and sometimes even killing them. This is how a little baby porcupine ended up in the hands of a kind farmer who had too much of a kind heart to end the porcupet's life. So instead, in 2015, he took it to the Daktari Bush School and Wildlife Orphanage. Daktari was founded by husband and wife Ian and Michelle Merrifield, who have dedicated their lives to helping African wildlife. They use their knowledge of animals and conservation to teach children about the importance of helping local wildlife. Since founding it in 2006, the couple had one goal, which is stated on the company's official website. Having a safe place to rehabilitate injured or orphaned animals has always been part of the vision of Daktari. It's also grown into an integral part of the education of local children. The farmer wanted to make sure that he would be giving the baby porcupine to someone who would definitely care for it, which is why he was so glad that Daktari were willing to take in the orphaned baby. Their passion for animals was clear. They named the little porcupet Spiky, and since the company hadn't homed a porcupine before, they were quick to research how to properly bring up the animal. Ian Merrifield told the Dodo in 2016 about how difficult it was to care for the animal. He had to be bottle fed, but we had to estimate what he would need. We tried to do research online, but there wasn't a lot of information. What the couple lacked in specific porcupine care, however, they made up for in having extensive knowledge in caring for small animals. We used mammals that we cared for before as a baseline, Ian explained, and we added egg yolk and cream to normal cow milk. The rescuers added one more prime ingredient to Spiky's concoction, Ian revealed. We added protexin, which is a bacteria that they need to aid in digestion. For the first few weeks, this is all little Spiky would have. He loved it that much, but as the porcupine grew bigger, his appetite grew bigger too. Spiky went from his milk concoction to a seemingly delicious mix of diced vegetables and fruit in porridge, which he couldn't get enough of. Merrifield reflected on Spiky's character, stating he really liked eating. Eating and sleeping were his whole life. Soon enough, Spiky warmed to his new human parents and the love and affection from both of them and Daktari's volunteers. You may think, how do you pet a porcupine without getting spiked? But the front and underside of Spiky's body is actually covered in really soft fur. Merrifield told the Dodo the volunteers would stroke his belly, under the arms, and behind his very human-like ears. Spiky would jump on their lap and nuzzle their neck. And it seemed that because of his adoring friends and family, Spiky grew up in the orphanage big, strong, and most importantly, healthy. One day, the time came for Spiky to leave the orphanage behind and live his best life in the wild, Merrifield explained. We just decided he would be happier free, and if he had any problems, he could come back for food. Despite being set free into the wild, it seemed that Spiky simply enjoyed the company of his human parents and friends more than his own kind. Merrifield joked, "We aren't sure if it's because he needs the food or just enjoys our company." In fact, Daktari received regular visits from the porcupine, but his next appearance would come with a very special surprise. During one of his visits back to Daktari, little Spiky actually brought back some porcupets of his own to meet his human family. It seems that the Merrifields got the porcupine sex wrong, Ian stated. We thought Spiky was definitely a male, so we were a bit surprised when she showed up with babies. Despite the revelation that Spiky was a girl this entire time, the Daktari workers were overjoyed that the porcupine had brought her little family to meet them. Merrifield thinks that Spiky was so proud of what she had made that she wanted to show off her porcupets to her humans. Even though Spiky felt right at home at Daktari, her babies were still very cautious around humans and often remained in the shadows rather than going inside the building. Spiky also had her human family welcome a male companion to the orphanage, presumably the father of her babies. Ian expressed his contentment that Spiky is doing well. It's wonderful seeing Spiky live a full life in the wild and having a family of her own. I feel like a very proud parent, and so he should. He, his wife, and the wonderful volunteers at Daktari are who to thank for Spiky's healthy and happy condition.